So I'm going to start today.
Sure.
I'm going to give a little plug to the website.
Our website?
Our website.
Yeah.
So just finished redoing it. I'm launching it today. So by the time anyone hears this, it will be up.
Okay.
I think it's okay for me not being a web designer.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It could be better, but I think it's fine. So on there, we just have, I put all the podcasts on there. You have your training videos on there. We have all our programs on there. I'm going to have the workout programs on there. So it'll just be like a little one-stop shop PowerTech type deal. And then we do have some like membership options if you want to join and support PowerTech. That would be sweet. If not, that's fine too. But there are some options there, and you'll get some extra stuff if you decide to join that way. And I'm also trying to get, I want to get some kind of merchandise stuff going, like hats and stuff. People are asking me a lot about that stuff.
Yeah, we'll get it going.
So we'll get that going. So I want to start with that. Any thoughts on that or no?
I think the players and coaches might want to go to the skills videos.
Yeah.
Check some skill videos. Now, they're not YouTube fun videos. They're teaching videos. And I've kind of stopped at, like there's a kind of a lull in the forward skill stuff that I haven't got to in a while. Yeah. But there's a lot of really good stuff in there, technique stuff that people can watch. If you're a coach that is struggling for things to look at, there's a lot of good stuff there. There's not a lot of good stuff. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
It's freaking awesome. But again, it's not the YouTube tricky, fun stuff.
Yeah.
You just see me working with Ekblad on quite a few of them. Anyways, it's just some stuff, some teaching moments.
Yeah, good.
Breaking down shots. It's really good.
Yeah. So, because like moving forward, we want to try to keep bringing as much stuff as we can, and obviously it takes resources to do that. So if you guys want to feel like doing that, sweet. If not, we're still going to keep making it either way, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, a lot of our listeners don't even understand. Like they see the podcast, and then they don't really know about the video stuff. So when I originally started doing this 3 years ago, I thought like, this is the history of this thing. Is I thought that I was kind of sick and tired of guys that worked for me taking my stuff and coaches going out there and just doing shit practices. So I said, I'm gonna do a video series. I'm gonna teach the skill itself, and thought that it was gonna be a really big hit with kids and coaches, and but the thing is like kids like YouTube. Yeah. They don't have a lot of times. They don't have the patience to sit there and say, okay, how do I actually get better?
Well, we also didn't put them up either, though.
Not. I know, but still, I would still say, like, even my son, he'd come on the ice and stuff, and I'd ask him to watch some of the videos, and it would be like, okay, I kind of know, or it didn't. Yep. He was younger, and he didn't want to take the time to really focus on those things. So I understand that part, but there's incredible videos on hockey skills.
Yeah. So because I just launched it, I just want to throw that out there just to start, because it'll be up, and I think it's a lot better. It's good. So that's that part. Second thought I want to talk for a minute about high school hockey, because I'm getting a lot of high school hockey issues happening now with guys that want to play high school, and actually I want you to throw your thoughts on it too, because we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Yeah. But so here's my thing with the high school hockey. In Ontario, at least, because I know in the States, in the States it's way different, and maybe in other parts of Canada it's different too, but I don't think so. I think in Canada it's pretty much the same, but Ontario for sure, high school hockey is not good hockey. It's really not good. I'm not gonna say it's a waste of time, because there's some things about it that are good. Like, it's fun. You get to play with your buddies, and you get to be a kid for one more year before you start to get more serious. There's some you can make an argument, whatever, but as you were saying yesterday, if you want to be serious about playing hockey, then you have a finite amount of resources, meaning energy, time, effort, all those kind of things. So focus, mental energy. And when you're in grade 9, 10 especially, you're already jam-packed with your practices, your games, workouts hopefully, and school, and just trying to get to bed on time and to eat properly and to do those things. It's a lot. So to throw one more thing on top of your schedule, you just want to put a lot of thought into that before you jump in and do that, because it can end up taking away from things that are actually beneficial. So the reason I'm saying this is I had a couple kids miss the workout yesterday because they needed a break because they had high school hockey plus all their games for their regular AAA team and practices and whatever. And I get that it's exciting to play high school hockey because you feel like cool guy and you're like probably one of the better players and it's fun to be, the guy that's awesome at hockey in your little world of high school. But you gotta, like we always talk about, zoom out, big picture. What is this? Is this actually doing something beneficial for you? So outside of just the it's fun part, you actually have to think, because now I had kids. This is my inspiration for saying this, is kids missed their workout yesterday. So they skip something that's actually beneficial for them to go spend time, energy, resources on something that, in terms of their hockey progression, if you want to talk about their social implications, that's different. But for their hockey progression, it's actually probably taking away from their development. So I just wanted to throw that out because we're in high school hockey season now, and I'm getting some conflicts with people missing workouts and trying to switch times and feeling more tired than normal and all that. So you can throw your thoughts on that.
Yeah, my thoughts on that, real simple. Again, to qualify what you said, in our area. Well, first, let me say it this way. Number one, if your aspirations are to play at the highest level or to get drafted or to get and you're a very serious hockey player, that's one thing. So those are the players that we typically are speaking to.
Right.
So if you're someone that just likes to play AAA hockey, or and hockey is more of a fun thing, and you're not real serious about moving on, that's another thing.
Right.
So I looked at it this way with Charlie, like, because he was asked obviously by his coaches to go play the high school hockey, but I qualified that a long time ago. I said, first of all, as a serious hockey player, you don't want to go on the ice with people that aren't going to challenge you at all, whether that's piss around ice or high school hockey. When you know you're going to be the best guy out there, or in that case, you got guys, because you're a good hockey player, might try to take runs at you. I wasn't worried about that, but the older guys trying to be tough guys, and it's just a different brand of hockey. So yes, so the thing is, a lot of the times people will do it because it's a cool thing to do. Now this is in Ontario, this is in Canada, and I could be very well mistaken that different parts high school hockey is a big thing.
Totally. Yep.
In fact, if you're in Minnesota and you're listening to this, you're going, "What are you guys talking about? It's the biggest thing in the world."
That's right.
So qualifying that, or disqualify that, or do some kind of qualifying.
Yeah, figure out if this applies to you or not.
Yeah, but so we're talking here in Canada, the highest level of playing hockey here is in AAA hockey. So I told my son a long time ago, I said, you're not going on the ice with people that are just not going to make you worse, but it's not healthy for you. Focus on one thing. So I always said to him is you can't suck and blow at the same time. So a lot of the kids that go and play high school hockey here in Ontario, it's because the coaches ask them, the chicks at school think it's cool. You become a cooler guy at school and all that kind of stuff. But it's not helping your hockey. It takes away from actually your maybe not your progress, but it takes away from your focus. And another term I always use is you got one ass, you can't ride two horses. So you can't do excellent at both things. And the other thing I told Charlie is and Dalton told Charlie this, is that sometimes the cool thing is not doing the cool thing. You'll be cool later, which is true for him now. As if he always tried to please everybody and make his friends think he was a cool guy on campus and stuff like that and play high school hockey, I'd be cool for a day, but would that affect his whatever?
Yeah.
The other thing, from a parent standpoint, I said the other thing is I want you to go, when you go on the ice, son, is we're paying a lot of money, and you're asking to be playing at the highest level. That's what you get to do.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. Because number one, I'm not driving you around all over the place every single night of the week, but you have to focus on one thing and be excellent at it. And with being with that focus comes your workouts, comes your all the things that go within to becoming a great hockey player. So going out there, it would just be a total waste of time for him. Yep. So I spend we were spending a ton of money every year for him to play hockey. I need him to be good at what he wants to be good at. If you don't want to do that, you want to just have fun, that's fine. Then we'll just take away the AAA, and you could do piss around hockey.
Yep. And
you don't have to take it seriously, because we got to, the thing is that every time my son or someone watching, your kids ask for something, if you always say yes, you don't have a life and you're not benefiting. So yeah, high school hockey is good for some kids because they're not, trying to be, like that serious or pursue something in hockey. But for the most part, it's not going to benefit you,
right?
And it's just time, and like you said, it takes away your focus.
Yeah. And to be perfectly clear, I played high school hockey, and every motivation you just said was exactly why I played. Chicks thought it was cool. I got to be the big gun hockey player in the tiny little world of high school.
100%.
And that was for sure the primary motivation. Secondary motivation was it's fun, and some of my buddies played and that.
Yeah.
But for sure, it was like I get to go out there and be the best, man.
Yeah, 100%.
It's awesome. Feels great. Strokes my ego.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good. That was for sure my motivation doing it.
Yeah.
And if I could go back and do it again, knowing my path, I'd probably still play again because I didn't end up making it and it was fun. But if you're someone who's a serious hockey player looking to progress, if I knew that it would be something that pulls away, then I would have changed what I was doing. I wouldn't have done that. And if I had the same maturity I have now back then I wouldn't have done it because this is a waste of time. And it's funny because in all other circumstances, all other sports, it was always cool to be the junior hockey player at my high school that didn't get to play other sports because I was a hockey player.
Yeah.
That was cool. But then as soon as I was able to play some high school hockey, it was like, for sure, I'm going to go out there and just run the show.
I remember my coach, Mr. Rose, coached the high school team as well.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I would like to come out to a practice and just, kind of get a pace for the guys. And I was the youngest guy. I was in grade 9, grade 10. No, grade 9 because I was in the OHL at 10. Grade 9, and there was up to the grade 12s. So yeah, I said, yeah, sure, I'll come on. I thought it was just whatever. I looked and I went, this is brutal.
Yeah.
Like these guys were 4 years old. Or like, anyways, that's it.
No, yeah.
I have a lot of things to say about it, but I don't want to. The thing is I don't want to say for people that do play high school hockey that you're stupid, because you're not. Yeah. It's a very, very fine qualifying statement, and it would be the same statement I use with my son for spring hockey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And totally. I'm not saying, like, for some people spring hockey is a good thing.
No, yeah, and it's the same. It's a similar kind of thing with the high school thing, right? With the qualifier again, talking about high school hockey that is applying to people that are in Ontario or in Canada, but definitely in Ontario.
Places where it's a secondary tier of hockey.
And if you're very serious about trying to pursue hockey as a thing, if those two things don't apply to you, then this message is not for you.
Yeah.
So
then you think we're jackasses.
Yeah, that's right. And you're mad, and you're going to comment and yell at me, all this shit. So yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll toss her over to you now. You can go with your story.
You got me hot, man.
Yeah,
you got me all hot under the collar. I probably have some energy here.
We're gonna get a laugh here though, because I know your story.
Well, I got one first. I just wanted to revisit. Yeah. Last week we talked about physicality.
Yep.
And the message, the reason that I was a little soft on it was because the question was how to teach kids who are not.
What do you mean soft?
I thought I was soft in the fact that we were teaching that you don't necessarily have to be. We were saying that you basically don't have to blow guys up.
Yeah.
And I feel in my mind, because when I was speaking about it, I know I was trying to be a nice person. But here's the reality is, at the end of the day, with the physicality, we were saying that, there's ways to maybe not get around it, but you don't have to blow guys up. And like, there's ways around, rolling off hits and stuff. But here's the fact. If you're not physical, you're going to have a much harder time. If I'm coaching, I would rather have someone that can change a game with a hit. We're getting their nose dirty, taking a hit, and it just is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'll take that any day over someone that won't. And if you're playing hockey and you hope that you're going to have a coach, or if you're serious about this thing, if you're going to have a coach or maybe the league, maybe they'll change the rules so it'll be a little bit less rough. You're in the wrong sport. Yep. It'd be like, I want to be a boxer, but okay, I only want to do, I don't want to get hit. Let's just pretend box. Well, that's not boxing. Right. And hockey, the physical part is just part of the game. It just is what it is. So if you don't have that element in you, it's a good idea to learn. Mm-hmm. And we gave a whole bunch of tips and a lot of guidance on how to do that. Even if you're small, but the physical part is what it is.
Yeah, definitely don't want.
It's like saying I want a penalty kill, but I don't want to block the shots. But please put me on the ice. Yep. But that's part of it. You have to block the shots. You're going to have to take a hit, and sometimes you're going to have to give a hit.
Yeah, I definitely don't want that to be If anyone thought we were saying that, then that's not what we were saying. It's obviously better to be the guy that goes and engages. And there's other things too. We were just pointing out that if the difference between you hitting and not is that you think you need to blow guys up when you hit, right, that's not true. Yeah. You can do it other ways. That's how we were pointing out. But you have to engage physically. You have to be willing to do that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're not effective. Yeah. It's not work around it either, right? Like you have to go. Yeah. You have to go get in the muck. Even like some of the best guys we watch through in the higher skilled guys too, not just the muck and grind guys. Yeah. They get engaged. Like we were talking about Potras and Pass the Job, for example, on Charlie's team. Those two guys, they get in it. They get in the grind. They get in the corners. They engage physically. And that's something that you have to do, and you'll just be better off. And there's things you can do outside of the tips that you gave last week as well. Like one of the most beneficial things that I ever did was I did boxing.
Yeah.
And that was something that made me more comfortable engaging in confrontation.
Yeah.
So there's other things outside of just the hockey training. Like if you can get yourself, and I'm not saying go box so you get crushed in the head 100 times a week. That's obviously not the point, but the training of it and getting in like confrontation, it forces you to face that, you know? And so other things, other activities outside of just the hockey part, those are things that could help you as a kid too. So if your mom and dad and your kids, like you find they're super soft or super tentative, getting them involved in something, an extracurricular like that, if you have the time and the resources to do that, that's something that could be hugely beneficial, because it was for me, definitely.
I don't know if I was reading or I was watching a Jordan Peterson thing. This guy's so smart. He was talking about rough and tumble play with young kids. And it's very, very important that parents, dads especially, with their boys, probably girls too. Yeah, you said girls too, is to have that the wrestling and the little bit of roughhousing and stuff, so that the kids actually know what it's like to not hurt, but to know what. Well, okay, let's say they're the one on dad and they whack dad and hits him hard, and they, now they're aware. Oh, that was a little excessive. If I do that, dad hurts. So when violence actually comes, when they know, okay, I need to whack this guy, but they also know for themselves that, oh, when I get in a headlock and dad's maybe squeezing a little bit and I cry because it hurts, but it doesn't really hurt. I just want to get out of it. But you can understand a little bit of pain tolerance. And
you start to learn stuff like that. Yeah, even like other more subtle things like distance and perception.
Yeah.
Like perception. Like one of the, I'll never forget this one. When I was boxing, one of the coolest things I remember when they were teaching me how to throw a punch is throwing the punch straight and turning. Yeah. Whereas a lot of people, when they punch, their elbow pops out. Yeah. And he explained that, one, it's more efficient, obviously, but the second is it's difficult for the other person's eyes to perceive something coming straight at them. Right? So if you go to toss straight and you can't see my elbow kick out, it's hard to see that because it's moving in a straight line at me. Mm-hmm. Whereas as soon as there's lateral movement, it's a lot easier for your eyes to pick up that difference. So you get to learn things like that, how far away people are and those kinds of things.
It's funny in boxing how the distance thing is where you think your safe zone is. Right. Like a lot of guys are way, way back. It's like you can never land a punch. Right. Right. So your distance is actually, if you actually understand, it's like actually, if you're not confident at all, this is like in a scary spot. Yep. Right.
And how close.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You actually are. Yeah. I remember the one drill.
What I mean.
I think I told you about the one drill I used to do. They had a broomstick, and at the end they taped old school. This is like downtown.
They still do it. No, they still do it.
No, but it was just fun because we're using this like old shitty broomstick and this like busted up glove with a knob at the end, just like hockey taped on the end, whatever. Yeah. So, it was a defensive drill. So it was to avoid getting popped. Yeah. So you had to keep your hands behind your back, and my trainer would come at me with the stick with the glove on the end and just try to bop me on the nose. Yeah. And it's so interesting because that thing's coming at you straight, right? And it's hard to pick up. Yeah. And it's so interesting how fast that gap is closed. Yeah. And he wasn't throwing with speed. He was just like bop, 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 and how fast it's actually coming at you, even when it's just a moderate pace. So if you got someone who's throwing fast, it's amazing. When I watch these and I was no like boxing guru by any means, but when you watch fighters, it's amazing how they can bob and weave and avoid getting clocked. Yeah. When you got Floyd Mayweather tossing a jab at you, you can't even see it. It's so fast. It's too fast.
So fast. But so there's the other thing. We're having a boxing clinic here. It's fun. That's cool. So that's the other thing. So when I took boxing and I did Wing Chun.
Wow, Wing Chun.
I did the private Wing Chun. But boxing was interesting because if someone's an amateur boxer, zero experience in boxing, you would think when a punch comes, it's like the movies, like big movements, or like you have to like really duck, but the movements are like with your hand positioning. When you see a punch, it's either like it's so subtle, and it's just to take it off track a little bit. That little touch, or that little weave, or that little footwork, you're moving like such small distances. And I learned the same thing in Wing Chun, is like your movements are so, like when you're positioning and angles and center of gravity and stuff, when something comes at you, it's not these big movements. It's just subtle bang, bang.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's everything short, quick, and moving towards your target.
That's what keeps it quick too, right? When it's small movements.
So the art, like, so they call boxing the sweet science, and man, is it ever.
Yeah.
Incredible. All fighting is like the martial arts, the mixed martial arts, like incredible.
Yeah. I have such an appreciation for it. And I would love if it was something that I could prioritize more time for, doing something like wrestling or jiu-jitsu or something like that, or even kickboxing or something. Because like for me, no idea how to use my legs. I have no clue how to do it.
Who does?
I can throw a punch. I can block a punch. Don't know how to use my legs. And if it's like a grappling thing, I'm sauced. Yeah. I'm gonna get my lunch fed to me for sure. So it's crazy.
No, 100%.
Anyways, sidetrack physicality. There you go.
Okay, we sidetracked. Okay, so I sent this to a whole bunch of people the other day.
Hilarious.
So for anybody who hasn't listened to it, there's a James Duthie. He's from TSN. That's Canada. For the American guys, it's tsn.ca. No, it's not on there. That's where he works. But he wrote a book on hockey beauties. And I'm not a big old story guy because whatever. I don't find that entertaining because I've seen a lot of it. Yeah. But I got a story sent to me through Jerv's dad. Seabass's dad. He said, "Have you heard about this?" So anyways, here's the premise of the story. Mike Milbury, who beat a guy up with a shoe in the New York Madison Square Garden, when they got in a brawl, he went up and grabbed a guy's shoe and beat him over not on the head. I think he hit him in the arm like 20 times as hard as he can, up in the stands with his skates on. He coached the Boston Bruins at one point, and Dave Poulin tells a story. He got traded from Philadelphia to Boston, and they were on a 3-game losing streak. They went from Winnipeg to Vancouver, and they had 3 days off, and Milbury took him on the ice. He said, "You guys get on the ice," and as soon as I got to the rink, you got 20 minutes, get on the ice. So the guys are like, three losses. Every hockey player knows what this means. So he says, get on the sideboards and do not move. So the way Dave Poulin tells the story here, he tells it like in a nice way, but you know that, because it's going to go with what we're talking about, how coaches can just right snap, so that you could just picture this guy's fuming. Yeah. 3 games in a row that they've lost. They're going to win Vancouver, and he goes, "You know what? That's it. Get on the ice." So the guy's like, "Oh boy, here we go. We're gonna skate for an hour." So he gets on the ice. He goes, "But only go on the sideboards and do not move." So they're like one of the top teams in the NHL at the time too. Ray Bourque, all these guys. Yeah. So on the sideboards, he comes on the ice and he goes, "I've got 3 days here, and I got 3 hours a day. I can hurt you real bad." He goes, "But I don't think it's the skating. Or no, I don't think it's the conditioning that's the problem." No, it sounds nice, but you could just imagine him yelling. So I love it when a coach loses his mind, because when a coach is losing his mind, every guy sits in the dressing room, covers their mouth like this. Yeah. So you don't get caught laughing. Right? Because when a guy goes ape shit, it's the funniest thing in the world. Yeah. Right? Everyone's got this little smirk on, right? So he goes, "It's not. I don't think it's the conditioning. So what I'm going to do, I think it's mental. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every guy on this ice. I'm going to tell you what I don't like about you. And I'm not going to skate you, because I'm going to skate myself." So he bag skated himself for 23 guys. So he'd go like, I forget the names like necessarily, but he'd be like, "Eric, you just, whatever." He goes, "You're a good hockey player, man. But you know what? You don't bring it every night." Yeah. And last night, your back check was horrific. And for 3 games, you've been in and out of the lineup. But now he's saying it like screaming at him. Yeah. "And you won't move. And da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And for that, I'm going there and back twice." So bang, 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 bang. So can you imagine the boys, when they saw that, just going, "What is he doing?" With his like back in the 80s, right? You'd have a tight tracksuit with a yellow whistle and bad hair and just bagging himself, right? And get to the next guy huffing and puffing and sweating and going on and on and on and on. And he goes, so finally he gets down just leaking. It was an hour. He did this to an hour to himself. And one of the last guys was Ray Bourque, and he's just laughing. He goes, "Ray, you're like you're not the best defenseman." He goes, "I played with Bobby Orr. And you're maybe not 2 or 3, but like on one hand, you're one of the best defensemen in the whole freaking world." Snapping though. Yeah. "But you love to give the puck up the ice." So you can imagine he's probably sat down with him. Hey, make sure it goes up the wall. Yeah. Make sure it goes up the wall. "Okay, Ray, I don't like it when you come up the middle of the ice." Yeah. So he just, at the height of just losing his mind, and he's tired, he's bagged, he's just stopping. You just refuse to come out to the middle of the ice, eh? Ray giveaway. And then he bagged himself again. So it's a hilarious podcast, but if you could just picture a coach that's basically insane anyways, snapping, but instead of taking it, well, he got it out verbally on the guys, but he bagged himself. They had to be dying. So, I love this story.
Dude, I would have been in tears because that's exactly what happens. When your coach is losing his mind, everybody's just is trying to not laugh because it's too much. Like it's
or you're scared shitless.
Well, if it's somebody that'll actually do something, yes. But if it's someone who just likes to yell, then it's like because I remember a couple times in junior that happening. I remember one in particular. I was sitting in the dressing room and a guy, my coach picked on two guys in particular, just reamed these guys. And it was like hilarious. It was like beaking them, and he was a former player. Like he's a funny guy. Beaking them. And I just remember sitting in my stall exactly that. Like putting my face on my shoulder pads because I was dying laughing. So think your whole team is standing in full gear on the wall and you're watching your coach bag skate himself after telling you what he thinks of you. And so think about, first of all, if you don't know who Mike Milbury is, just YouTube Mike Milbury blow up or whatever, and you'll see he's nuts.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Absolutely nuts. But think when you're on the ice, actually, you were saying at the end of the podcast, whoever it was talking, I forget the guy's name.
Poulin.
Yeah, so he was saying it actually kind of worked because it made the guys
got the message across.
Yeah, it made the guys all go think about what he said to them or whatever.
We did it with passion. Like if you just say, I think you could work harder.
Yeah.
He didn't say it nice. He's like basically used a lot of profanity and basically got right in your grill and told me exactly what he hates about you.
Yeah.
I've told you 1,000 times not to put the puck up the middle of the ice, but we're doing it for the last 3 games, and you just continue to throw it up the ice, don't you? You just want to do it your way, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the message.
That's it. I know.
So for that, I'm gonna go bag myself.
I know.
You watch me suffer.
Yeah.
You know.
So funny.
We had last. Go ahead.
No, go. I was just gonna say that would never happen. I don't think now. Like these days with coaches, no. I don't know if it would take a nut. I don't know if there's enough nuts.
There's a lot of nuts. There's a lot. There's a lot of stories. I remember. I'll do my one last one. Just I was thinking of this one time when I played for Hamilton Steelhawks. Coach after a game we lost, and it was a close game, and we had a 50 hit rule. Like it was just he was nuts, right? But anyways, after the game, he told us to go take a shower and sit in the dressing room. We weren't allowed to have clothes on, so we were sitting in the dressing room like this, naked, because he knows that this cover your face. So we had to sit there. We're sitting there on
exposed,
the bench, bare-assed.
Yeah.
Right. So he brought in. Back then it was a big TV. He went game film. He went it was like torturous. Put it in super slow motion and show you your mistakes. So I remember Jamie Leach. So Reggie Leach, if you ever heard of him, he played Philadelphia, goal scorer. In relation
to Brian Leach?
Nope. So Jamie was going to finish a hit. So coach stops it. We had to finish hits. So Jamie was in a neutral zone and should have made contact, and he did a little bit. And no, I'm not saying Jamie was shit. He was a great player. Played for Pittsburgh Penguins. He was an awesome player. But he was very physical. But in this one instance, he in the neutral zone goes to finish a hit, and coach slows it right down to, and you could see before he makes contact, there's a bunch of snow coming from his skates for him slowing down, and he just started yelling at me, "Look at this thundering body check." So we don't have a shirt on, and we can't go like this. So we're all like, "Look at this thundering body check." There's 3 feet of snow before he makes contact. It's so many. He told me that I was going to get. He was go breaking down my game that day. He goes, "You know where you're going to get drafted? Detroit Red Wings pick in the 12th round. Pass." And it was just constant. We had a bigger guy, and he just asked him about, you had whatever. He's cutting him up about having too many Tim Horton donuts and stuff, and just going on, but like losing it, right? It is funny.
It's hilarious.
It sucks when you're getting it, though.
Oh man, sucks when you're getting it. But I that couldn't be more true though. I remember laughing. My coaches would be losing it a couple times my last year, junior too, and I couldn't stand my coach last year. So anytime he said anything, I would just be like,
"Oh yeah,"
same thing. Try to cover my face, just like, "Oh my god, man, so funny."
Oh, it's so funny. But that was a good. It's amazing how we can segue stuff here sometimes.
Great
because
segue.
We decided the other day that we were going to talk about again, coaching communication with a little different twist. And I would like to say it in this way: coaching has changed from Mike Milbury, and that wasn't like a bad thing. That was he beat himself up, right? Message was different, right? But coaches have changed. Society has changed. The days of I'm the coach, you're the player, listen or not communicating, and just having the crossed arms, crossed eyes, crossed nose, crossed ears, and the snarl and the gruff. It doesn't work anymore, right? And communicating with the players is actually key now. And that's just society, right? I mean, if you look at school, I was that kid at school, like I would have actually done the work if you would have told me why. I used to say, well, sir, what do we need this for? And they say, because you need it.
Yeah, not a real answer.
It rubbed me the wrong way, and I was 6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm being honest.
No, I know.
You know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a why guy.
Why guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like coaching is teaching, teaching is coaching. So it's the same thing. If you want to be effective, you need to communicate why. Everyone's a little bit different, right? So, anyways, coaches need to do their best to communicate to players. And I'm talking about, if you like, here's the thing: you could say, "Well, I coach Adam or U9 AA hockey. It's not that important." No, it is, because your coach. You chose to coach. You chose to be a mentor. You chose to get involved in some reason. You got the lives of however many kids are on your team. It is your job to be the guy that leads that team and to teach.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, limited knowledge or something. It's your job to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hire a plumber that doesn't know plumbing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
do you have anything to add to that right now?
Well, I was just going to say, and it's not about being soft either. Like sometimes people think like talking to the kids and whatever, it's like you're being soft on them or you have to have this persona of your like rough and tough as the coach and whatever. And it's just less effective. Like you can think, well, I don't need to talk to the guys and whatever. I'm not trying to be soft and whatever. It's just a worse strategy as a coach. Like you're worse off. Your team's worse off. Everyone's worse off if you're not a good communicator. So it has nothing to do with being soft on your guys or coddling your guys or making sure everyone is feeling okay. No. And it has nothing to do with that. No. It's just, it's better if you communicate. If you don't communicate, it's worse. It's like any relationship. It's like anything. If you're not a good communicator, it's just worse, you know? So I wanted to throw that on there before you keep going to your second point.
It's so funny that you said that, because I was thinking in the car today as we were going to talk a little bit about this stuff, is I remember over the last 20 years, because I'm an adult now, or kind of an adult. I'm a half adult. Yeah. I'm part 6 years old and I'm part 53.
Yeah.
But I had the opportunity as I was training players to watch coaches just to see their demeanor. And so many times the coaches that were coaching AAA level hockey never really played at a AAA level. And most of the time in that situation, they're always the ones that, you know, how's the team? The guys don't listen, this, that, negative. And they always are the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah. No self-reflection,
the hard ass. And the kids see through the hard ass, because is there anything in your life that reveals you were a hard ass on yourself? Do you know what I mean?
No. What do you mean?
Like as a coach. So I don't want to say a name, but okay, there's one guy that was coaching the team, and he was always like barking at guys, and nothing was ever good enough, and blah, 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 blah. But he hasn't done anything. He has a normal job where he shows up, punches in. He's fat and out of shape. He doesn't take care of himself, and he's always the smartest guy in the room. But like the kids look at you and go, "You're not," like you always say, "You're not doing it."
That's exactly.
You're not. You're talking like you're so perfect on everything, and you execute so well. Where'd you play house league? What? And that's the truth. House league. He played house league, and you're asking. And that's not the end of the world, because there's a lot of reasons why someone could play house league and all that stuff. It doesn't make them stupid. Doesn't make them not possible to be a good hockey player. Maybe they weren't dedicated. But if you played house league hockey and you're coaching AAA, you have no idea what that level is like. You've never been there, man. So to have excellence, how the heck can that come across? You didn't put excellence into your hockey career. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the arrogance.
That's the part that bothers me.
That's what bugs me too. There's no problem if you haven't played at a certain level and now you're a coach. And you want to coach because you like coaching, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and the arrogance of thinking just because you're in a position of authority.
Yeah.
And that's what I find with a lot of minor hockey coaches. And that was me all through AAA. Every coach I had up until after my draft year. After my draft year. Think of this.
I know.
Every single coach I had was either a dad or just your Joe guy that maybe played a little bit of hockey, minor hockey growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single coach, not one that played at a high level, except for before my draft year, except for one played in the OHL, and he ended up being my worst coach actually in minor hockey.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was always just like somebody's dad. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That you can coach.
There's nothing wrong with
There's nothing wrong with that. But to come in with the arrogance of thinking I remember my very first hockey coach was probably my best. I would say he was my best coach outside of the coach I had after draft year. And he was just a dad. But he was like a motivator and a communicator. And spoke to us.
Yeah, good guy.
And great guy.
Cared about you.
Yeah, fantastic guy. And
no X's and O's, but he was just like,
no X's and O's, but let's play hockey and learn some lessons about being a team and whatever. When we turned, I think it was either 9 or 10, he was like, I don't know enough to coach these guys anymore.
Perfect.
So he stopped coaching.
Perfect.
But someone exactly like him, but arrogant, became the coach. And then it was just down. And our team was absolute dog shit until we were 15. Remember. And that's exactly why. We had a coach who couldn't teach us anything hockey related and couldn't even teach us concepts of like being a team and playing like a team.
Right.
Couldn't even teach us that.
Right.
So we were always so terrible, and not for any real good reason. Like we had decent, when we got older, we had some decent players.
Yeah. Enough
to be competitive. There's no reason we needed to get blown out of the water every game, other than our coaches were terrible leaders. And that's exactly, when I think back on it, it's exactly what it was. Exactly what you just said.
Jocko Willink in his book Extreme Ownership said there's no bad teams, there's only bad leaders.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Well, think about when you coached Charlie's little Essex team. These are AA 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
Whatever. And you got them playing as a team, moving the puck, doing systems. The little kids.
Caring about it.
Spending the time.
Well, that's the
talking.
Thing, right? So I'm off tangent here, and that's okay. But it's part of the thing.
Yep.
Is okay. Let me get right back to that.
Yep.
Your job, you need to do your best as a coach. I don't care what level you're at, to be able to communicate with your players clearly and concisely. Okay, that means there has to be a message of some freaking sort,
substance. Yeah.
Right. So I knew that they weren't great hockey players at the time. They're 9. They're playing A hockey, which that doesn't mean anything at that point. But I knew that if I was going to take the team, that there had to be some message. Right? So my message to them was clearly, like, I looked at it and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm not just going to sit here. Like the first practice I did, I went, oh my God, this is horrible in my head. And I told my assistant coach, but I couldn't have that attitude the rest of the year. So I had to come up with something. So number one, I said, I'm going to make them feel good about themselves, like give them a reason to love hockey. I'm going to bring out the best of them as hockey players, and I'm going to teach them the game of hockey as best as I can for that age. That's not the end of the world, is it? That's pretty simple, I think.
Yeah, totally.
I think so. And that was my message to them. I said, I'm going to teach you guys how to pass the puck, how to move your feet. I'm going to teach you a little bit about hockey. Does everybody here want to be a better hockey player and be good at hockey? And they're all like, yeah. I said, okay, you guys just told me that. So that's my job, is to do my best to do that for you. They loved it. They learned about hockey for the first time in their life. They weren't just skating around, someone saying, and I'm not disrespecting the coaches before. They didn't know. But they weren't just saying that, work harder. Come on, guys, let's go. Keep going. Those aren't coaching cues. Those are just, Dad could do that from the stands.
Yeah.
So I showed them, basic skills. Then I showed them how the game should evolve and how the flow of the game should be, in positionally a little bit, like nothing crazy, but it was like they loved it. Yeah. How to, when they could make plays and all that stuff. But I taught them about, work ethic. Now they understand what working hard is. Like now, if they're going if they're playing a position and they don't do it hard, now I can coach them, right? But it was always clear and it was always concise. And like you said earlier, it's not soft. I was always the first one to say, great job, kid, or you're doing so well. But I was also that same kid, including my own. I'd say that's not good enough. You're playing hockey, or you're doing this because you want to be good. And I always relate it to life. You can't go through life just kind of going through it. There's got to be some sense of purpose and self-pride. And that's what coaching was for me, was to bring the best out of those kids. So, and it was very, very clear that and then, you know, what the beautiful thing was, is they knew that I wasn't doing it just to win hockey games. They knew that I actually wanted them to be the best that they actually could be. I wanted to squeeze all the juice out of that lemon that I possibly could. And they knew it. They knew it. They knew it. They knew it. It wasn't like it was a raw thing every day. They knew it. And when they knew it, they wanted to impress me. They wanted me to say, "Great job, Luke. Great job, you know, Cam." And, or get in a little bit of shit, because you know what? People will do a lot of things to get noticed. And if you're not giving them praise, they're going to find a way to get some attention. And it's going to be through a lot of times just negative.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
But I think at the risk of distracting you more from your point is you were always, and this is, I try to do the same thing with the guys in here, is try to provide a purpose for them. Mm-hmm. Like, why are they doing what they're doing? And we highlight that all the time, being a why guy. And I had literally zero of that, like none, until after draft.
I know.
None.
I know.
And it's embarrassing because it takes so little.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so little. Or even as a coach, especially with all the resources that you have available now. Maybe it was a little bit different when I was younger. There wasn't as much information. But how could you be not prepared?
I don't know.
To some degree. You know? To some degree.
Yeah, some degree.
Even if you're Joe
one
Dad.
One thing that you're trying to get out of them.
Yeah. Even if you're just Joe Dad.
Yeah.
Like, how could you not be teaching anything?
Yeah. So here's what I would say if you're a coach, if you're going to coach, is I wrote down a couple things. If you're a player, how would you like to be treated? If you're coaching, if you're a player, turn the tables. How would you like to be treated? Would you like someone to not speak to you? Would you like someone to be gruff and, you know, I know everything, you know nothing? Or would you like someone to be approachable? Someone that you think you could communicate, fun to play for? Pretty simple question.
Yep.
The answer, right? It's the oldest thing in the world. Treat others how you like to be treated.
Yeah.
Right?
The golden
because you're
rule.
The coach doesn't mean that doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's people skills 101. People don't want to play for a dictator, or if that's the word. Would you like you as a coach? So if you're if you're the player and you're if I'm the player, is that a sentence? If you're a coach, ask yourself, would you like yourself as a coach? If you don't like the answer, you probably should change some things, right? Because you could see through yourself, I hope. See what you're all about. You know, only you know you. And then the other thing is there's a thing that you have to understand. What you want to be fair as people. You want to be as fair as you can to people for as long as you can, but fair doesn't mean equal. Does that make sense?
Yep.
A lot of parents go, "That's not fair," because then they look at fair being, well, he got more ice. That'd be a reason that he got more ice, or your son got less ice, right? So fair doesn't mean equal. I always used to say this, like a lot of parents would say, well, he got 2 penalties in a row, and he should sit. Or one coach we had, no matter what, he would roll the lines. No matter what, Charlie AAA. No matter what. So if Charlie got a penalty and the penalty was over and his line was up, then he would just go back on the ice. You can get another one, and then when his penalty was up, he'd just go on the ice. That's not fair, because everybody else is getting screwed here. He's allowed to go get penalties and still get his ice, whereas other people are missing shifts.
Yep. And
the guy couldn't understand it. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, no, I'm fair. I just roll lines. I go, well, if my son every time he got on the ice got a penalty or did something, or better yet, when you're trying to win a game and you got someone that's just not giving you effort. So like, let's say my son is out there and his effort isn't his best, but I got a guy that's not the best player that is giving it and he's working today. It's not fair for my son to continue to play if his effort's not good at the AAA level. Right.
Especially in minor hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even this is one. I want to do a whole other podcast on this too. Is about the concept of who plays in which role on the team. Because when you get to junior, something that I know parents have a hard time understanding, and players for that matter, is sometimes you could be having a really great game, and they still go with their guns when it's called for. So if it's a close game, if it's a tie game with 3 minutes left, and you're having an awesome game as a third line player, they're probably still going to go with their top 6 in the last 3 minutes of the game.
That's the way it goes.
And that's the way it goes. In minor hockey, when you're developing, that's where there's a little bit more room for
wiggle room.
The fairness type of idea, you know, because when you get up to higher levels in junior, it's like you're there to play a role, you're there to do a role. And if you happen to get 3 goals one game, but your role is not goal scoring, I'm still not putting you out when I need a goal. I know you have 3 goals today, but and maybe that's not true. Maybe I might because you're hot. I think you're hot and want to get you on the ice more. Maybe. But if I don't, it's because it's not your role, man. And so even at the AAA level, that fair versus equal debate, it's important to understand those types of things, because as you get to higher levels, it turns into that. So you have a little bit more in minor hockey wiggle room to reward and punish based on ice effort, behavior, stuff like that. And I think it's appropriate to do that. But you have to keep in mind that just what you just said, fair isn't always equal. You know, whether that works in your favor or against you, that's just how the game ends up being sometimes. You know.
100%. So in coaching, the thing is with coaches is it's important that you come in with like to be able to communicate. Okay. Because the coach, I just wrote a couple things down here. The coach sets the environment for the whole team, right? If the coach is, you're basically the leader of the team, and if you come in and are, like I said, cross-armed, cross-eyed, and angry all the time, do you think that's approachable? What are you communicating? I'm angry and you're never good enough. Right? You're the leader, so you set that tone right away. Kids aren't going to approach you. You're not going to get the most out of your kids. But it's not even like, who wants to play for that? In the NHL, it's even changed. You get very few guys that are even like that anymore. Still pretty gruff, but you're the reflection. The players are going to play. The way they play is a reflection on you. Their attitude, their discipline, their energy, their respect, hardworking, all that kind of stuff is a reflection of you. So if you don't have any communication skills or get things out of the kids, then they're going to reflect that, right?
Yep.
They're going to play that way.
Definitely.
So do you have anything to add to that?
Nope.
Okay. So you should have a plan and some sort of structure. I'm not talking about, and this is so that you can communicate with kids, because there's nothing worse than, like, it took me a little bit too when I, when I first actually started coaching a team, is to understand that without any type of structure or game plan, there's nothing to coach. You can't say, like, because this is what happens to a lot of coaches is they just go out and coach and they do the raw. You can do it. Let's work hard. Let's have fun. What a game plan.
Yeah.
It's good words.
Yeah.
But what does that mean?
Yep.
Work hard. Well, everyone's got a different idea of work hard. But if you have a structure, right? So a forecheck is 2 guys on the puck, hard. First guy take the man, second guy is going to loose puck, in that layer, and the third guy high, right? Now there's structure, so we know in a forecheck, if the first guy is going in hard and the second guy is lackadaisical and the third guy is too deep, there's something we can teach. So there's a structure and a plan that we can communicate. So a guy comes up, so you practice this way, on and off the bench. When they come off the bench, you can teach that. In between periods, you can teach the structure piece, and that's where you can say, now you need to work harder doing that. Now I can take that forecheck and say, that's not acceptable. That's not good. You need to be better at that. You need to go harder. Yep. Right? Do this, and this. That's very, very important. And that gives you a chance to do individual coaching, right? Not just team stuff. Because the worst thing is when a player comes up to you and says, coach, I'm having a hard time scoring. What can I do? If you don't actually have any structure, you're just like, just keep working hard. That's what people say. It's a bad answer. Mm-hmm. Right? You should be able to do individual coaching. So, but first of all, you need to be approachable. So how do you be approachable? I don't know. Like, talk to kids, say hi, get to know them a little bit. Let them know that, in your words, actual words, if you guys have any questions, come and talk to me. But the more you speak to kids individually and just be a friendly face, and I'm talking like this is minor hockey more or less. Yep. But even at the higher levels, as long as you make it very clear and concise, makes it that much better, makes it that more approachable. So now you've taken the burden of thinking, is it okay to talk to my coach? Yep. Ask him questions because he seems angry all the time, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of things.
And more importantly, coach, reach out first.
That's what I was going to say.
Is that what you're going to say?
That was my first point. Yeah.
Okay. Don't wait for the kids to, and don't wait for them to be a problem or an issue, and say, well, you could have came and talked to me. Right. You make sure that you hey buddy, how you doing? Listen to you're their coach, man.
It's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility, but you're their coach.
Yeah.
And you should want to get the best out of them, and you need to be the adult or the professional, if you're at the professional levels, to reach out first. Yep. You're the leader. Makes everything a good, safe place. Go. You had some shit?
Yeah, I do. I got one I'm going to save to the end, but this is kind of related to this now. So first thing, I was just thinking while you're talking too, how much this relates to parenting too. It's the same thing. Like
101.
It's the same thing. Like if you want your kid to talk to you, if you want to know what's going on in your kid's life as they're developing, you have to communicate and you have to initiate the communication. Yep. And that's where I was going to make that point.
Yep.
As mom and dad, you have to go talk first. You have to let them know that they can talk to you. If you're a distant parent, your kid's not going to think they can talk to you ever, man. It's the same as a coach. So I'm going to tell a little story, but I want you to, after I tell my story, to kind of walk through maybe like the setup. So if it's the beginning of the season and you're a coach, how can you, or what can you do to set this up properly from day one, whether it's team meetings, individual meetings, set up in any sense of those types of things, parent meetings, or whatever you think is appropriate. I want you to walk through that. But the reason I'm asking you that is because I had an experience, and this is what made me start to not like my second coach in junior. So I got traded my third year of junior. I got traded, and it was like such a ridiculous situation. I'll save that story for another day. But I get traded, and I was having an excellent year. So starting off, I think I had 20-something points in the first 12, 13, 14 games, something like that. So I had a really great start. I was one of the league leaders in points at the time. Got traded to a team that I didn't know a single person on this team. I didn't know anyone on the team, no players, no coaching, no management, no other human beings that had nothing to do with hockey. I'm going into a completely new place. So I get to this team, and my coach on that team, I met with the GM, and he got to know me, but my coach never once talked to me about the joining the team process. Other than he might have said, hey, like happy to have you here or something like that, right? So to me, if I'm the coach...
You know what it says? I don't care about you.
Exactly. And this was the seed that started me not liking this guy. Because the first day I got there, what he should have done, or what any reasonable person would do, be like, okay, never seen you play before. Our GM, I got traded from a different conference where we didn't play, and the GM was the one that recruited me, who also had never seen me play. So I'm coming onto this team, all they see are my stats, that I'm having a good year, and they assume that they know where I'm going to go. Yeah. And the team that I went to was already a really good team. So they were already pretty set. So if I'm the coach and I get a new kid coming into a completely foreign environment, he's never been in before, never been away from home, nothing. You come in and I pull this kid in right away. Hey, haven't seen you play before. Like, how do you think you play? Here's what we think. Tell us what you think, kind of thing. Because I've never seen you play. Never even seen video of you playing. Where am I going to put this kid? So that initial dialogue that didn't happen, that planted the seed to ruin my dynamic with my coach from day one when I got traded right away. And then maybe 3 months into the season, we had our first like one-on-one talk or something. And he said I should play like this player who I don't ever play like. He compared me to an NHL guy that I don't play like at all.
Right.
And I had never once thought to play like this.
Yeah, well, it'd be like right now saying to a kid, I want you to play like, Brandon Tanev.
Yeah.
Who the hell is that?
That's right. So if that's what you think, you should have communicated that to me day one. This is what I think is going to be your role. How do you play? Like, tell me how you think you play, because this is where I can see you fitting in or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, so this guy's trying to figure me out, trying to see where I play. And now I have a little bit more confidence in being here kind of thing. And he didn't do that. So right away, now our relationship is tainted, to use a term, because I don't trust this guy now. Like, he's not showing me he gives a shit about me at all. And he never did my whole time I was there, which was a lot of the reason why I didn't end up getting along with this guy. So anyways, there's my long story, but I want you to go into how to not do that and have a good setup, whether it's a 10-year-old AA team or a junior team.
It's the same everywhere. Yeah. It's the same everywhere for me. It's like, and I don't know if I could say there's an actual plan, because it's my personality or my conscientiousness when it comes to hockey or doing my skills clinics is listen, I do a skills clinic. Someone comes for the first time, 10th time, whatever. Hey, how you doing? Yep. Good to see you again. How's your shot? Like, there's a relationship. He knows that I actually care. Guy the first time comes out, I'm always like, hey, what's your name? Or good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Just need you to work hard. I might even give him a detail of what the clinic's going to be like.
Yep.
Because it's like, okay, this guy's not, it's approachable.
Right.
I approached you. I don't want a kid to come up to me and say, hey, coach, this is my first time out with you. Mm-hmm. I go, yeah, on the line. That's okay. Well, I hate your guts, coach. I don't want to ever come back. And I can tell my parents, and hopefully they don't give you another nickel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's now you're hitting them with like a feeling of rejection.
Yeah.
Especially if the kid reaches out to come talk to you and you gun them like that. It's like,
yeah. So it's always like, especially with kids, and in the OHL, even the young NHLers, they're kids.
Yeah.
You need to be a little bit more mature, but you're kids. Just before I go there.
Yep.
A player's dad called me the other day in the OHL. He said the coach came up to him because he was having doubts about where he stands on the team and am I doing well enough. Okay, so 16, 17 years old. So what do you think that's doing with his head? Because he hadn't had a lot of feedback. What do you think he's doing? He goes, I don't know where I stand. Am I going to get scratched? Am I going to... Coach came up to him when he was working out. He said, hey, come here. He played a really good couple games. And he told him from the beginning of the year, he goes, like, I really like you. You're going to be a good player. And then, 15 games go by and not really a whole lot of peeps. So kid's like, I don't know where I stand, man. Like, I hope I'm doing good. I hope I don't get scratched. Coach went up to him in the room, workout room, and says, hey, you played a really good couple of games. Keep it up. Really, I see you being here and here and here. Just keep working hard. And it just, what do you think that 3 minutes did for the kid?
Oh, man, just relieved the pressure valve big time.
100%. Yeah. Now the kid's like, gave him gas.
Settled down, yeah.
He took a flat tire and just...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that funny? Just trying to hold it in. I can see your face. You're like, what's the noise? But he pumped that tire, so now that guy's he's gonna go for miles.
Yeah,
he's gonna go for miles. And now if he gets beat down a little bit over the next couple of games, he's still got some gas in the tank. And he goes, okay, no, the coach said that I did really well. Or why did I do really well? Maybe the coach told me, I don't know, but why did I do really well? I did certain things. Oh, I got to do what I kept doing. He's got something to measure his value on the team. But if the coach just walks by, it doesn't say hi, or just says hi, the kid's in doubt. Yep. So he just added life to this kid's whatever. I don't know what the word is.
Well, yeah, and this is what we were saying last week when we started. Was more the player perspective of player. You need to go talk to your coach. Mm-hmm. But if you're a coach and you haven't talked to a player in a long time, you guys haven't had a dialogue. Like, again, you're the one with the responsibility to your guys. You're supposed to be the leader. Like, you can't say, well, why didn't you ever come talk to me? You're the coach, man. Go initiate it. Or even if you go get him, be like, hey, come talk to me. Hey, how come we haven't talked in a bit? Like, what's going on? Yeah. I want you to, you can come talk to me, right? Like, don't be afraid to come. And you can reset that mental framing because the kids' wheels are always spinning, man. I remember it all through junior. I'm sure you remember it. Your wheels are always spinning as a kid because you think in such short time frames. So if something's going wrong, you start to think, oh, I'm no good. Or am I going to get scratched? Am I going to get traded? Why am I not getting more of this? Why am I? Yeah. And you
Coach hates me.
I know. And you talk, that conversation was probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah, let's say it was the total of 3.
Yeah, right?
Doesn't matter.
That's all it took. And this kid is settled right back down now. He feels good. He's got some confidence again and whatever, And that's so.
Dad, guess what?
Exactly.
Charlie does it to me.
Yeah.
Dad, George texts him. Charlie. Da.
Yeah.
At night. Pull him in the office. Hey, Charlie, how you feeling? What do you think? Where do you need to work on? That's like, man, that's gold.
Yeah. Okay. So
I want to play for you.
So give me, you're the coach. You have a team. I want you to tell me what you would specifically do.
Okay, this is what I've done every team. I hate meetings. Freaking hate meetings. Yep. I like rallying my troops.
Yep.
Yeah. I like rallying my troops. Those are the guys that are important to me. But so anyways, I have to have the one meeting and it's always that quick. Number 1, here for the kids. Number 2, I got to have expectations and I lay out a few expectations.
So it's a parent meeting, you're saying?
Parent, team, everybody. Yep. I don't do parent meetings. This is the only one they'll ever get.
Everybody meeting.
It's the only one they ever get. Mm-hmm. And I basically started the meeting like this. I don't do meetings, don't like meetings, not having meetings. If you need to talk to me, parents, come and talk to me. I'm not, if you want to talk about ice, we'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I am not the guy that needs a 48-hour rule, 24-hour rule. I can deal with anything that you have for me. So You come and talk to me. If you don't talk to me, then that's your fault.
Yep.
Don't talk behind my back, but you're going to do it anyways. I say those things.
Yep.
You're going to do it anyways. Y'all think I'm the greatest coach in the whole world right now. You're going to hate my guts at some point of the year. Every single one of you. Guaranteed. You're going to think I'm nuts. You're going to think it's too much. You're going to think I'm whatever. I'm favoring guys. That's what you're going to think. So I get that out on the table. So parents, you want to talk to me, talk to me. Kids, this is what my expectations. I'm going to just lay out where I think they are, where they're going to be. And I talk to them every day. I just talk to them every day. If you guys have anything that you want to talk to me about, come and see me. But we're going to learn hockey. That's how I start. The next, and I don't do meetings, man.
So you don't even do like individual player meetings.
Oh no, that's different. No, that's different.
Okay, just
so as the season goes, because you don't know your players,
right?
I'm not going to sit there with a kid that is 9 or 16 and I don't know them and say, "Here's what I expect from you." We're gonna sort itself out, right? But every game or every time I make a decision, they know why. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a practice, they know why we're doing. Like I'll explain their practices, make sure they understand, make sure that they learn to listen, and the lessons are on a daily basis. Every drill, everything that we do, there's a decision to be made, and the people know why. But there's also that goes good and bad. I've said this a million times. Like so as the team starts to play, you can see tendencies that so you got to do two things. You got to teach as a group and you got to teach as individuals. So you can see tendencies as a team, practices and games where some strengths are and stuff. So then you address it and say, we're going to need to work on this as a team. Here's why. And here's how we're going to do it. So why, how, right? Yep. Here's what, here's why, here's how. So you address those and you put them through the process. So you teach as a team, this needs to be better. This guy needs to do this, this, and this. And now you have to start pulling guys out because I guarantee you, if I show a breakout to neutral zone to forechecks or whatever, somewhere in every area of those things, there's going to be someone or many people that just can't figure out their job properly. So now I can't give 20 guys shit. I have to say, Eric, come here, buddy. Here you go. Do you understand this?
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah. I always say, here's what you do. You're working hard. You're trying hard, but I'm not sure if you get this. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying here? And I have to coach you to make you a better player.
Yes.
I have to coach you to make a better player. This is not work hard, let's go get them. This is how I'm going to make you a better player. I'm going to give you 2-3 things on how you can make this situation work for you. Then when you start getting it, you're going to think you're Jesus Christ himself. Because I'm going to high five you. I'm going to tell everybody, look at this guy. He listened. He got it. The kid feels great.
Yep.
And I always ask, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you understand? Yes, no. If you don't, then we have an issue. And I'm going to tell you, Eric, you said that you understood. What don't you understand? Sometimes the kid might say, I just didn't know what to say. Okay. Then there's freaking opportunity after
now
opportunity.
You're making progress. Yeah.
There's just so many opportunities where kids can speak.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, I always pull kids aside. It might be before a game. Kids walking in, hey, because he did something well, did something poorly. I want a different expectation. I want to squeeze a little bit more out of them. And I just pull them aside. Mm-hmm. That's coaching. There's no other way. And they know that they can come and talk to me.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a lot of good stuff, man.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
What you want to hear? So this is just like, I need to say this.
Yeah.
If you're a 15-year-old boy and I come up to you, I've got scars all over my face. I have a reputation of being experienced, I'll say, grizzled. That 15-year-old boy, when I am stern, or he would like to approach me, but he's scared shitless to come and talk to me because of the presence that I have. And I've been told that from many people that I'm very, I can come across as very gruff and intimidating. You think?
Well, because I know you're not, but I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You intimidating.
Coach Andy, dude, you better be on.
Because I'm serious and stuff. So that's not your job to figure that out. That's my job to change that. Right?
Yep.
So as a coach, you have to remember that when you're talking to a kid that is 15, 13, 18, doesn't matter. Like, okay, so Charlie, for example, he's playing for a coach that's been coaching in the OHL or in the NHL for the last 33 years. 33 years, that's double Charlie's age.
Yeah.
More than double Charlie's age.
Mm-hmm.
When I was Charlie's age, he started coaching in the league, basically. So this guy, like, no matter how approachable he is, he's still a 6'3", old school looking guy.
Yep.
That come and knock on my door. It's like, no,
I don't want.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So as a coach, you recognize that. Yeah. You recognize that you're the big gruff guy, and maybe a little bit of love, like, hey, and joking, not joking, but making them feel at home is very, very important.
Yeah, make yourself seem approachable. So I want to circle back. Bud. No, it's okay. I want to circle back. So again, because my original question, I was asking you about how you set up your team to start the year in terms of making sure people are comfortable. So you're not a big meetings guy.
No.
You do. So you start with just a beginning of the year meeting just to kind of talk to everybody once. Then you're talking with the kids daily until you get your
high five everyone.
Yeah, until you get your team set up and your systems down and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you start to pull guys where you'll have a little individual meeting, let's say. Okay, but you don't schedule, you don't say, okay, today is individual meetings
day.
Not
a chance.
Okay, so because you have that kind of temperament where you communicate a lot and you try to be approachable and you're constantly communicating. If you're a coach, that we've talked about this before, that isn't so much of that. Would you say it's a good tool to use to maybe schedule it to make sure you do it as a coach, or how would you say?
I don't know. It has to be your personality.
Yeah,
it has to be your personality.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to find time at some point that everybody gets something.
So it's not that. So you just personally scheduling meetings aren't your thing.
No,
but you're not saying it's not a good. You could use it if you need it.
Here's one way. In youth hockey, you got 15 to 18 kids on your team. Play on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's 5 meetings before each game.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
The meetings aren't long.
No.
Meetings
just
aren't long.
Just touching base, making
just touching base.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I don't think it's that important. Now, if you're a guy that likes, you have a protractor in your front pocket and you like doing numbers and, folding paper and, keeping records, then you like to sit at a table like this and have a formal thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
So you like to do it that way, that's fine. It just takes you a little bit more time, and I find that could be a little bit more intimidating because it's a meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
totally.
the approachable thing again. Is like if you come into my office and I'm sitting there in my chair that rocks on my side of the desk and you sit down on the other side, it's formal.
Yep.
It's not a hockey player's atmosphere, in my opinion.
Right.
Sometimes you have to do it that way. Yep. But so I'd rather do it in a place where everyone's comfortable. That's out in the rink with the glass with some noise.
Yeah.
Maybe a little private and But
calm. Because when I think of my style, like if I was coaching a team like that, I would still do the approachable thing on a daily basis, like you do.
Yeah.
But I would also do like actual meetings. Like I would do a start of the year after a couple games. Say, okay, here's what I think. This is where I think you're fitting in. Whatever. What do you think? And then halfway through the year again, just like making sure. But all along, still pulling kids aside, talking, whatever. It's not like those are the only 2 times I'm talking to my guys, right? So I just want to show like it's not like a one-way whatever.
Nope.
But the point being, if you can do like the daily communication, which you should, then do that.
Easier.
But if you need to have something more scheduled for yourself because maybe you're not as confident or as talkative as a coach, then you need to make sure you're doing that. You need to make sure you spend time doing that. So that's
one other thing that I've always done too, is like about every 2 weeks I send out a nice email to the parents and the kids.
Yep. Good point.
And it was always motivational.
To individually or like a team email?
To everybody, like the same one to everybody.
Yeah. So like a team.
So it was like, we're at this point of the year. I'm really proud of the kids for doing this. I'm really proud of the kids for doing this. We're going to try working on it. It wasn't like, I'm not trying to be a businessman, but I was just, it was something. All the parents used to respond saying, thank you so much. The kids really need that. We really like it.
Yeah. And that was your supplement for your parent meetings
or
whatever.
Yeah. But it was more for the kids.
Yeah.
But so that's that.
Cool. So that was good for me. I just got my little sign-off thing, unless you have anything else you want to finish on.
Your job is to read players. So I'm gonna go real quick. Your job is to read the players. It's not the kid's job to read you. There's kids, like if you see a kid moping or down, like the thing is the kid, I don't care what level you're at, pro. If you're a pro coach in the NHL, you don't know what's going on at home. Wife could be not doing nice things to the husband. The baby might be keeping them up at night. You might have pressure coming from you don't know where. So it's not a bad thing. Like that's irrelevant on how you perform. But you need to perform, which is your job to try to get it out of them. As kids, you don't know. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. You don't know if the kid ate today. You just don't know. You don't live in people's houses. So if you see people moping around or whatever, being a bright spot in their life is really, really important. Not rah all the time, but like being there, letting them know that you care. When the kid knows you care, they'll do anything for you. They'll do anything for you if they know you care. That's the saying, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much they care about you. That makes sense?
Yep.
And I'm telling you, man, kids will go through a wall for you if they actually know that you give a shit about them. So it's your job to read the players. It's a lot of your kids, not everyone's going to be the same. I've had some players where I'm like, I don't know if they like me at all. And that's okay. They don't have to like me. But it would bother me, and then I come to realize that or you speak to some of them, and they just look at you like no response. I explain to them this is like this one here is yes, and if you go sideways, that's no. There's responses to questions. But okay. So this is the point of the thing. Some guys are quiet and they don't respond. They're blank. They look like the eyes of a chicken. There's nothing there, but it is there. They're just internal. Right? So you can't take that the wrong way. So I, as the coach, tell them what I need. You have a quiet kid that doesn't respond, that it seems like he's trying bad body language, whatever. My job as a coach to say, hey, Eric, when I'm speaking to you, just honest to God, it's like you aren't listening. And he might look at you like, what do you mean? Right? It's my job to say that. I need you, Eric, to say, yes, coach, I understand. Yes, no, I don't understand. I need something, or else this is going to be a real hard, long year for you. You drive me nuts.
Yeah.
And I talk to him like that. You drive me nuts. I don't even know if you care. I think you hate my guts.
Yeah.
I don't hate your guts, coach. Okay, then tell me you don't hate my guts.
Yeah.
Say, okay, coach, I'll do it for you. I need that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it goes a hell of a long way.
Totally.
Because now I could coach this kid. Now I know. I see. Okay, that's not going to respond. Then I get the other end where you get the high energy guy, can't shut up. Right? Doesn't shut up. He doesn't stop moving. He's fidgety. I might have to say, hey, Eric, when I'm speaking, I need you. I love your energy, man. I love your energy. I love that you got energy. I need you to tone it down when I'm speaking, or in this situation, I need you to just calm down because it's not going to work this way.
Yeah. Well, whatever the reason is, yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, and that's fine. As you're the coach, you have to lay out your expectations, and you can't assume the kids know your expectations if you don't tell them.
Yeah.
Like, kids, I need to know that you heard what I said.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, if you're moving around when I'm talking, it makes me think you're not listening. Like, those are things that you can say, and they're easy to say.
Yeah.
And the kids need to understand your expectations, and if you don't tell them and keep telling them,
that's right.
They're just kids. They're not going to remember. They'll forget. Whatever. They need to get every once in a while. The team needs to get tightened up again. Right? It happens all the time.
All the time.
So you have to keep telling them. You have to keep reminding them. It's important.
A couple other things here, and then I'm going to shut up.
Yeah.
When you see a kid struggling, help them. You like from a hockey standpoint, not just life. Talking a hockey standpoint, when you see the kids, you got a goal scorer that hasn't scored in 2 games, 3 games, you'll see his body language. You'll see. You have to go to him and coach him. Okay, let's find it. It'll come if you start doing this, this, and this. Help them. When you see someone doing something really well, point it out so that they know they're doing something well. Like, always find those teaching moments. There's a million teaching moments when it comes to the game. And make sure that you're pointing out good things. Bring the best out of them. And then my last thing for the day, this is it was more of a funny thing to me. Can't tell you how many times a guy comes in here, a dad, and comes in and says, hey, don't be afraid to give my kid a kick in the ass, eh?
Oh, yeah. Classic.
What guy likes to, like, there's a saying, or I don't know if it's a saying, but there's a theory that, some guys need love and some guys need a kick in the ass. And I can tell you, I don't know one player I've ever coached or played with that needs a kick in the ass to get going. Like, the hardcore, you're not, like, the really hard,
you're like giving them
just
shit.
not good enough. Come on, keep going, and all that time. I don't know one player that responded. Now, there are guys that sometimes, I'm careful how I say it because I don't know how true it is all the time. But some guys do need. Remember, I played with one kid that played with me in the States. Sometimes he needed a prod. He always gave effort, but to get the most out of him, you had to say, bring it up a notch, or else you're going to miss a shift. And he would be, oh, yeah, okay. He needed a wake-up call. But the guys that are out there just barking and barking,
yeah, that's different.
I don't know a kid like that.
Right.
I don't.
Different.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I laugh every time a parent comes in here and says, make sure you don't be afraid to give them a kick in the ass. And I go, well, first of all, I have your permission to tell him to make sure he works hard. Number two, it's not my job to have someone work hard or get motivated. And more importantly, not my job to discipline your kid.
Right.
Maybe if you do it at home, he'll do it here.
Yeah.
Doesn't need me to kick him in the ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a really good point too, because I was a kid that I did not respond well.
No one does.
To your shit.
It might happen once.
Yeah, that didn't fire me up. No. Like, that never fired me up. I need, like, encouragement or saying, like, okay, one of the best things my coach would say to me in junior, I remember my first year, he would literally say this to me because it was like a backhanded compliment, kind of, to use a phrase. He would say, he would say, if I was having a shit game or I wasn't having a good start, he would say to me, he'd come on the bench in front of everybody. He would say, Eric, if you don't play better, we won't win. That's what he would say to me.
So he thought that was motivating.
And it was motivating to me because on the one hand, he's saying, hey, if you don't play well, we need you. That was what he was saying. We need you to play better. At the same time as saying, you're playing like shit, dude. Like, figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was giving me a positive and a negative kind of thing, right? So it was like, yeah, we need you to play better. You're not playing good right now. Or you're not playing well. Pick it up. And that was something that would motivate me. If somebody said, dude, you suck, sit your ass on the bench, that type of message, it's like, no, I don't know anyone that would respond well to that, you know?
No.
So you have to be intelligent about how you're going to throw criticism too as the coach, right? So that's a really good point. You got to know your personalities and how to work your guys. You have to pay attention to that. One
of the things I forgot to say when I build a team, and this is a must. This is an absolute must. This is this is the rudder for the ship.
Nice.
Every kid has to tell me what their strengths and weaknesses are, not because I care about that, but it gives me an idea what they think. Most kids, I'm good, whatever. Yeah. But the most important thing I put on there is what do you want to get out of hockey? Now, when you're 9 years old, everyone's going to play in the NHL, right? So that's fine. So I try to dial it down to age appropriate. So if they're 9-year-old hockey players, what team would you like to play for in the next 2-3 years? And then NHL and all that shit. But when you're in Bantam Midget, then it's OHL, college, NHL. They pick one. When you tell me that, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have zero excuses. You told me you want to play in the OHL. You told me you want to play for your under-17s. You told me you want to be a first-round draft pick. You told me you want to play in the NHL. You tell me that, you have to do this. I got you. Done.
Yeah. Yep.
The point of that is it's the dream. It's the freaking dream. You have to know what their goals and dreams are. If you don't know what their goals and dreams are, that means, number one, you don't give a shit. Number two, how are you going to help them get there? How you have nothing to motivate them, right? You can't make a dream up for them. They have to tell you what it is. You tell me what I want, I got you. I got you.
Well, I'm thinking back right now to my minor hockey coaches, and if I had to answer for them, like, why are you coaching? I wouldn't be able to. Like, I don't have an answer. I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, I don't know what their goal was. I don't know. And so I think it's really important, just as my little finish piece, if you're going to be a coach, if you choose to go coach, because it's your choice to do that. You don't have to. No one's making you. You need to know why you're coaching, first of all, and what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what is the goal for the year, let's say? So if you have a 9-year-old AA team, what are we trying to do? Like you said, when you were the coach for that Essex team, right? What are we trying to do? I'm going to try to teach them a little bit about hockey, because I want to be better at hockey. I asked them. That's what they said. So this year, we're just trying to teach them a little bit about hockey, and we'll see where we go with that.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to do. Okay. If you have a 15-year-old AAA team, what are you trying to accomplish this year? What is your goal with this group of kids? And that has to be something that you have outlined in your own head, or forget about having a structure for them. You don't even have a structure for you.
That's right.
You don't have a structure as a coach.
Right.
You need to have yourself structured before you can impose a structure on your team.
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't answer those questions.
The team says we want to win the national championship. Beauty.
Right.
All the better. If they say we just like to have fun, we got trouble.
Yeah.
I'm coaching a different animal.
And that's really, really important to go into as a coach, because that will shape how you behave towards your team with your guys and what your philosophy is and all those things.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then you're just going to be my 11-year-old coach and we lost 15-1 every game. And that's shit. And wasted years, man. Yeah. Like waste years of just, we could have been developing and we weren't because my coaches were not, I don't even know what it was. They weren't there for the right reasons. They didn't get themselves prepared. They wanted to make sure their kid progressed. I don't know. I don't know what the reason was, but I have nothing good to say about any minor hockey coach I had except that first one that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Not one. And that's
sad.
That's so sad. That's so sad. That's 15 years of coaches.
Yeah.
And I don't have one good thing to say about
it's amazing, man.
any of them. And that doesn't mean they were bad people or anything like that.
No, but you're saying the motivation to coach, you just don't understand.
As the coach, like I don't have any positive things to say. And it's like when
sad.
people think about their school teachers, you can think of 1 or 2 school teachers you had that really made a positive impact. You're in school for 20 years, 15 to 20 years you're in school. And you have 2, that's all that made an impact. And that's sad. And that's your responsibility if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, if you're mom and dad, whoever. Make sure kids aren't saying that about you, man. Like have a plan. Be prepared when you go in there and make a positive impact.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's a good question. I question it sometimes too. Why someone coach? Well, here's the thing though. Like it would take a lot, and I don't know if there's anything that could get me to coach youth hockey ever again. Coaches. Well, so here's something for the coaches: is you got to know this. Like I said it earlier, I don't care about the parents. I don't give 2 shits. Now the parents you have to have some communication with them because of their kids. But when it comes to parents with their kids in sports or hockey, you're not going to win. So at some point, like I said before, they're going to hate your guts at some point. They're going to talk behind your back. They're going to tell you that you're not doing things right. They're going to tell everybody else that you're not doing things right. They're going to complain, and there's always going to be all that stuff. So it's like, as a coach, you have to just eliminate that noise, deal with what you need to deal with. But what happens for parents when you're that person, you're annoying. It ruins hockey. The kids are typically fine most of the time. The only reason for me to talk to a coach would be if there was something done negatively to my kid, like unfair, like really unfair, really not good person like, you know.
I'm going to just throw something else on there too that I think another reason is sometimes parents just want to say like, how's my kid doing?
Yeah, and
like,
that's fine.
And that's fine too.
But that's a conversation. I'm good with that. Yeah. But it's all the stuff that drags coaches down. I don't know why you would want to coach in that atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Charlie's old coach in Major Band the year before he got drafted, best coach I've ever seen in minor hockey. I hear that people are complaining about him now. You kidding me?
Yeah.
I've seen him. I know what he's all about. He's been doing it for a lot of years. Can't complain about this guy. Anyways, the parents are very negative. I don't know if you can get over that part and just coach the kids, tell you something, it's very, very, very rewarding. Got kids that still come up to me from I got kids I train that have kids now. First person they bring them to is me. Harry Young was in here a couple weeks ago, brought his little baby. Hey, look, Andy, look what I got. Like that's the relationship you want. You always want. It's just so rewarding. You can make people better, and that's what you want to get out of it. But you have to take the lead, and you have to, you have to have a communication skill. You have to have the desire to make people better. Because at the end of the day, it's just hockey. Like at the end of the day, this whole thing, there's only 800 NHL jobs. There's only whatever, same as two times. I'm going OHL here. 20 teams times 20 some guys. So there's 400 guys in the OHL. Most people aren't going anywhere. But what we have to do is teach the hockey. The kids that really want it, really work hard and have the skill and all that stuff, they have a chance to go where everybody else is not. So what are you going to do as a coach? You're going to just care about how the slap shot was at the breakout, help them as people. And it's just super, super rewarding if you do it that way.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Good coaching stuff. We'll leave it there.